All right, these are the build instructions for question 9 of the Spring 2006 Part B practice exam. So in order to make this, we're going to go ahead and put a sketch on the front face here, the front work plane, and then we're going to create that profile, and it's going to look something like this. And then I'm also going to add a little section on the bottom here. Okay, and then I'm going to put dimensions on this, and I believe this is supposed to be 0.5. I don't actually have the part open in front of me right now. The total distance from here to here, the diameter of this piece is 6 inches. And since we're going to revolve it, we're actually going to put in 3 inches. The total thickness of the part is 1.5 inches. And from here to here is meant to be 1 inch. And from here to here is meant to be half of that, which would be ½ an inch. Okay, and that should be the part. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to 3D Model, Revolve, and we're going to select just the top part of this profile. And the axis of revolution is going to actually be this axis down here. What that's going to do is that's going to create the hole in the middle that we need. Now one thing I just forgot, let's go back to this, and we're going to throw a fillet on this. So if I go back to Sketch and I go to Fillet, and I say 0.25, that's going to give us a 1/4 inch fillet from this line to this line. So now we have that nice rounded fillet that they asked for. And now we'll go to Revolve, and we'll select this, and the axis is the lower line, and we'll hit OK. And then we have that part right there. Okay. Now we need to make the keyway, so I'm going to put a sketch on this front face, and we're going to take Rectangle. And I'm going to make sure it locks onto this arc, and just going to bring it over there like that. Now I'm going to add what's called a Coincident Constraint. Coincident tells two things to be at the same place. I'm going to tell this corner to be on this arc, and it brings it over. The dimensions of this keyway are supposed to be 1/4 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch. So it ends up looking like that. And then we can go to Extrude, Cut, and put that in there, and say All, and then we cut that keyway. So now we have the keyway cut out, and we're going to put a sketch on this face right here, and I'm going to take a point. It's called a point center point, and I'm just going to throw it on here. I'm not going to try to get it perfect initially, and I'm going to throw a dimension from there to the center point here. I'm going to tell it to be 2¼ inches above that center point. Now I want it to be perfectly above it vertically, so I'm going to come up here to what's called a vertical constraint, and I'm going to tell that point and that point to be vertically constrained. Now it's exactly where I want it. Okay, we're going to use that point to make a counterbore hole. So I'm going to go to 3D Model, go to the Hole feature, and it'll automatically select that. Now a counterbore hole is the second option. And what it told me in the hole notes, I'm going to turn this to the side so I can actually see the hole that it's making here. It told me in the hole notes that the counterbore diameter is 1 inch, and it goes 1/4 inch deep, so I don't have to change that. And then the rest of the hole has a diameter of 0.5 inches, and it goes all the way through. Okay, so that's the hole it's going to make. The counterbore is this top part, the rest of the hole is this. We're going to hit OK. And then the only thing we still have to do is circular pattern that feature. So we'll go to circular pattern. The feature I want to select is that counterbore hole. Rotate it around. You can pick this circle or this circle. They have the same center axis. And we want 6 occurrences, which it defaulted to. So we just hit OK, and that is the part. Okay, I saved the part onto my desktop as part 1, and now I've opened up a drawing file. And I'm going to go to my sheet size and say Edit Sheet and change it to a size A. I don't need to have a title block for what I'm doing right now. I'd rather have the space, so I'm just going to go to the ANSI large and delete it so I have more space. And I'm going to go to Base, and I'm going to bring in part 1. Now I want to make sure it has a front view, so I'm going to go here to Change View Orientation, and I want to start with it looking just like that. So I'm going to say Finish. Now that's way too big, so I'm going to go to a half size scale, and then I'll go ahead and drop it on there. And what we're going to do from this is we're going to create a section view. So section is right up here, so I'm going to click. I'm going to come down here and click once to activate this sketch. So then I can pick this top point, and I'm going to come down and pick the bottom point, and then I can right click and hit continue, and it's going to create that section view. I'm going to pull it over here, I'm going to drop it, And that is the section view as if we use this cutting plane line to cut through this part and look at the inside. We're looking into the left side. That's what these arrows indicate. And that's what it looks like on the inside. Now, I do have an issue with mine. It's not perfectly vertical, so you would want to go back and fix that. I'm not going to worry about it right now since I'm recording. But then we would go to annotate just to make sure our holes came through correctly. Our hole and thread note, click, select one of the holes, and it should display with the correct hole and thread notes. It's telling us there's a 1-inch counter bore that's a 1/4 inch deep. The rest of the hole is a 1/2 inch hole that goes all the way through.